Awesome. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us to learn more tonight about the Voices of Black Women study and integration with Relay for Life events. Eunice, if you go to the next slide. My name is Brian Sherwood. I am the National Director for Relay for Life. I'm thrilled to have everybody on, both here live and also on our recording. Tonight, we're going to spend a little bit of time, if you go to the next slide, Eunice, talking about the Voices of Black Women study. What is it? Why is it important? And how did we get here? Also spend some time talking about how to integrate voices at your Relay for Life event, which is really exciting. We've got some great new resources for 2025 that we'll share tonight. Then we'll talk about some action steps, things that you can do at your local event to integrate voices for this year. And we'll have time to answer questions. So we have a few folks on tonight who are our amazing presenters. The first one I will introduce is William Riddick. William is a regional liaison for the National Relay Leadership Team, so we're excited to have him working with the Southeast region. William's also a top performing team captain and just an amazing guy. So William, I'm going to turn it over to you for just a few.
Hey, welcome to my fellow relayers. As again, I'm William Riddick, one of your National Relay for Life liaison, and it is indeed an honor to welcome you to this Voices of Black Women training. As far as for me, having a mother that's a cancer survivor, it really highlights the importance of this study. And like Brian said, my team is a nationwide top performing team, and we were afforded the opportunity to reach a fundraising level that we were able to name a research grant after our division. And doing so, we chose to fund a research grant by Dr. Margaret Ogongo, who will be studying health economics, health equity, health disparities, as well as discrimination of social determinants of health. So yes, I'm totally invested in this Voices of Black Women study. I'm on this call tonight because of my mother, because of my grandmother, because of my sister, because of my daughter.
Wait, I'm making sure, I got to make sure I'm on mute.
And because of the countless number of African-American women whose lives can be saved by early detection and prevention. I'm not going to hold you too much longer, but I want to leave you with this one quote that I heard years ago at a past ACS conference. It's just simple states, where you live should not decide if you live. Again, welcome, and thank you for coming to this training tonight.
Awesome. Thank you so much, William. Thank you for your leadership. We'll hear more from William a little bit later in the presentation as well. But now I'm really excited because we have an expert on with us, y'all. Eunice Larbi is part of the study Voices of Black Women study team. She's part of our population science department at the American Cancer Society. And she is living and breathing voices every single day and our engagement within our communities to getting more women enrolled. So I'm really excited. She's got some great information to share with you all tonight. So welcome, Eunice.
Thank you so much, Brian, and thank you, William, as well. Hi, everybody. My name is Eunice, and I am really excited to be speaking with you all today about Voices of Black Women, a little bit of overview of the study, and then how to integrate voices into your upcoming relay events. So I wanted to start by kind of talking a little bit about the legacy of cohort research here at the American Cancer Society. A lot of people don't know this, but we have been doing large-scale population cohorts for over 70 years now. Throughout the years, we started with Ham and Horn onto the cancer prevention studies 1, 2, and 3. And many of you might have remembered or might have been instrumental in recruiting for our CPS 3 study between the years of 2006 and 2013. Relay was a really instrumental space in kind of getting the word out and getting people enrolled in that study. But our 70-year legacy of cohort research at ACS actually makes us experts in this field, and we've done a lot to draw a lot of connections between certain health behaviors and cancer risk and prevention across the population. One thing I do want to highlight on this slide is the last line that points out the volunteers that we've engaged throughout the previous cohort studies that we've done. ACS is all about our volunteer base. And as you know, our volunteers are really instrumental in achieving our vision and mission to end cancer as we know it for everyone. So I want to point out the fact that recruiting for these studies has really been a partnership between ACS staff and our volunteer base. And just to drive that point home a little bit, I wanted to show a couple of pictures from the past. I personally love these, especially some of these black and white ones from CPS 1, I believe, where people were going door to door to tell people about the study, to get people to enroll on the spot. Obviously, we have in the center CPS 3 integration into a previous relay event. So as you can see, our volunteers have really been those instrumental boots on the ground individuals in communities who have been spreading the good word about our scientific research. I have mentioned several times that we have this long legacy of population science research, and this slide just points out a couple of the things that we've been able to learn through our previous studies. I really love kind of like having this retrospective because it just shows how instrumental we've been in this space. So for example, ACS has been able to draw the connection between smoking and lung cancer, has been able to draw connections between sedentary time, body weight, physical activity, and certain types of cancers as well. So this is the type of research that we have been able to really pioneer. And with Voices of Black Women, we have an opportunity to expand upon that legacy specifically for a population of Black women. So in 2024, last year, we're coming up on almost a year of Voices. ACS launched our newest cohort study, Voices of Black Women. The reason why we launched this study was because, unfortunately, Black women do bear the brunt of the cancer burden. We do see cancer disparities, particularly impacting this population. If you look on the slide, life expectancy for Black individuals in the United States overall is lower across gender lines as well than white individuals in the United States. And in 2016, the death rate in the US was higher for Black individuals than white individuals due to chronic conditions such as cancer. So collectively, Black individuals within the United States have the highest death rate and shortest survival rate of any ethnic group for most cancers. With those facts in mind, our research team really wanted to turn the lens specifically to the Black population and specifically to Black women to better understand some of the factors that lead to this higher incidence rates for cancer, the higher death rates for cancer, and in order to better understand how to move forward, how to have better screening recommendations, better preventative measures for cancer within this population. So, with Voices of Black Women, we really wanted to engage Black women in research. This population, unfortunately, is very under-researched, very underrepresented within the landscape of public health research. And there are very good reasons for why that is. Historically, Black women have been mistreated within the health space and within the research space. And that has led to a huge disconnect in participation, in trust. So with Voices, we really wanted to remedy that while also doing our part in understanding a little bit more about how to bridge the gap and minimize the disparities that we see. So with Voices, we are aiming to launch the largest ever population cohort study looking at cancer to better understand cancer risks and outcomes amongst Black women. We're aiming to recruit 100,000 Black women across the country to learn a little bit more about the experiences of this population to better understand a lot of what we're seeing in our data. The primary goal of Voices is to better understand why Black women get and die from cancer, which will then help inform strategies to improve cancer prevention, treatment, and survivorship for Black women. So this slide is very colorful and confusing, but I wanted to show it just to show some of the foundational work that went into forming this study. So we started by just doing some local focus groups with Black women to understand a little bit more about what they would like to see in a research study like this and of this scale. We did some of that formative research, and we also engaged a scientific advisory board that is made up of 9 Black female scientists who are experts within the field of Black women's health to help advise our ongoing efforts as it pertains to what we include in our study and how we are recruiting for the study. We also are doing some community engagement through 2 major channels. One is our Voices Ambassador community. Our ambassadors are amazing. They are our boots on the ground volunteers. There are over 400 of them who have really stepped up, taken some trainings on Voices, and have elected themselves as individuals who want to represent the study in their communities. And then we also have been engaging through our partners as ACS. So we have both local and national partners that we've engaged in getting the word out about the study and in our recruitment efforts. These partners are in the health space, in the corporate space, but also through our DEI partnerships as well. We've been able to engage with the Divine Nine and other civic organizations such as the NAACP and the Links. In addition to all of those efforts, we are led by our co-principal investigators, Dr. Lauren McCullough and Alba Patel, who have been really instrumental in forming the study from the ground up. They are both experts in population cohort research and in cancer among Black women. So very excited and proud to be working with them on this monumental effort. Once an individual enrolls as a participant in Voices of Black Women, we de-identify their data, meaning that any surveys that they answer for us, we will anonymize them so that any data point can't be traced back to any specific person. We take safety and security very seriously on our end. But once that data is de-identified, then our researchers here at ACS will conduct analyses on that data in order to draw specific conclusions about cancer risk amongst this population. I also wanted to spend a moment just to highlight our study team, our study leadership, and our scientific advisory board. One thing that was really important to us as we were forming the study is making sure that the people who are actually working on the study are reflective of the population that we are trying to reach with this study. So you see myself on the slide, but we have a lot of amazing leadership from the behind the scenes to the folks who are actually communicating with our participants to our scientific advisory board. So the path to engaging 100,000 Black women, what's involved? With Voices, we are aiming to recruit 100,000 Black women who are between the ages of 25 and 55, who have never been diagnosed with cancer except for basal or squamous skin cancer, who reside in one of 50 states or Washington, D.C. Enrollment has been open for the past year now, so we are enrolling on an ongoing basis, and really excited to share that we have enrolled 3,300 participants thus far. We have done a lot of great work in that space, but we are obviously still continuing in our effort in our pursuit of our goal of 100,000 participants. Once an individual enrolls in the study, there are a couple steps. So the first is our eligibility survey. That is about a 5-minute process, and it just asks a couple of yes or no questions to determine whether or not somebody is eligible for the study based on the criteria that I just laid out. That takes about 5 minutes. Personally, I think it takes 2, but on the safe side, I like to say it takes 5 minutes. Once they complete complete that eligibility survey, we have an informed consent form. That takes about 15-20 minutes. That lays out all that all that participation in the Voices study entails. So that kind of lays out all that information of what a person is consenting to by joining the study. After completing that informed consent, we do a registration survey that takes between 10 and 15 minutes, and that allows us to collect some demographic information from our participants. So where they live, what state they're coming from, what their phone number or email is. And the reason why we send that survey out to participants is so that we can follow up with them over time. And then the last kind of like initial step is our life and health history survey. This is the first official task that our participants get from us. That is a much longer task. It does take between 60 to 90 minutes to complete. But that is really the bulk of the data that we do collect from our participants initially. We ask them some questions about their health history, about some of their health behaviors, and then some pretty unique questions as well that I'll kind of go over on the next slide. But after completing that initial life and health history survey, we then follow up with our participants twice a year with much shorter surveys. These surveys will be about 30 minutes each. And those are surveys that will include some follow-up questions, any new information or questions that we didn't ask in that initial survey, and also some questions that are related to, new things in science. One thing that has been in the news recently is, concerns about synthetic hair and some hair products that Black women have used historically. So as things like that kind of come up in research, those follow-up surveys are some opportunities for us to ask some questions to our participants about those things. So wanted to touch on what that life and health history survey does cover. We have three main categories here. The first being some content that is standard in health studies. That's going to be information about experiences within the healthcare setting, experiences with cancer screening, some medical history, family history. Then we have questions that are about life or lifestyle and behavioral information. So whether or not you smoke or drink, whether or not, or what your physical activity looks like on a daily or weekly basis. And then we have some questions that are unique to Black women's experiences. These were questions that were really important for us to ask because we understand that, health is not just made up of, what medications you're taking or what lifestyle behaviors you're engaging in. Health really is kind of the totality of how you're living. So we do make a point to ask about, questions about environment, questions about quality of life, caregiving, social support, experiences with race and racism, because we understand that all of those things work in tandem to impact Black women's health. So I will wrap up kind of this informational portion by talking a little bit about how anybody can get involved in the study. If, anybody is eligible based on those criteria that I kind of spelled out earlier, visit our website, join us today. We, again, are continuously recruiting for the study, trying to amplify the study in communities across the country. So taking part in the study is really the biggest thing to support our efforts here. For those of you who are not eligible, take a moment to just share Voices with a couple people that you know. Our website, which I will put in the chat a little bit later, is voices.cancer.org. And that website is really a one-stop shop for information about the study team, and a link to enroll as well. So please do take a moment to share that with any eligible women that you know. Also, Amplifying voices in your personal or professional networks. We have a bunch of resources available to help you do this. But even just like sending a text to a friend with the link to the website really does do or make a world of difference in amplifying the study. And then obviously the reason why we're all here today is integrating voices into your relay events, which we'll talk a little bit more about very shortly. Like I said, we have enrolled just over 3,300 participants, so your voice can help us reach many more. I will pause to see if there are any questions.
Yeah, Eunice, there was one question in the chat, and then we'll see if we have any others. Are the surveys that these folks are taking over the phone? Are they written? How are they accessing the surveys as they enroll in the study?
Yeah, that's a great question. So this is completely online. So we have a secure portal on the internet that we use to send surveys out to participants. So if you have access to a phone or computer, then you're able to access those surveys over time.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is a tried and true. We're using this for CPS3 now as well. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. Great. Awesome. Any other questions for Eunice before we move on to talking about integrating into your relay event? Hearing none, Eunice, I think we'll move right along. And I'll start with this next slide and then turn things back to you. But we do want to highlight, like most things in Relay, we have an ACS resources page for voices just launched. I'll throw the link for that in the chat as well. There's lots of resources on there. Eunice is going to talk a little bit about that in just a second. We definitely want you to take a look at the Relay integration guide. There's a big purple button on that page that will open that document up for you and has everything that you need. And then we have some other resources on there as well. But Eunice, why don't you talk a little bit about what's in the integration guide and what volunteers and staff can expect to find in there?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the integration guide, we really wanted to present a couple of options for integrating voices into your relay across the board. So depending on what your event looks like, depending on what, the capacity of your event is, we wanted to present a couple of different options that your event teams can utilize for promoting voices. A few of those are, we have some messaging that can be included in different communications that you send out to attendees or participants in your events. That's all kind of spelled out in the guide, and we have them all like labeled off based on whether or not you want to have messaging on your event website or in the know before you go email, just to tee up voices, kind of keep it fresh, keep it on people's minds, either before or after the event. We also have our voices talking points, and we came up with these in collaboration with Brian, just to highlight the fact that Relay has been such a amazing space within the context of the cohort research that we've done in the past. So really highlighting the fact that, now we have another chance to collaborate as one ACS and getting the word out there about voices as well. So those talking points can be used from your event stage. If you have anybody on your leadership team who can speak to that, or if you would like to, tap one of our Voices ambassadors who is in your locality, we also have a way to kind of like request any ambassador presence at your relay that is linked in that integration guide as well. And then we also have our co-branded relay and voices track signs. Currently, we just have voices track signs. Some co-branded track signs are currently in development.
Yep.
But if your teams would like to have a couple of track signs, the voices study team is able to provide some budget for 2 track signs per event. So we're really excited about the opportunity to do that as well. We also have some social media assets, which I have a couple examples on the next slide. And then we have a voices awareness video, and y'all, it made me cry the first time I saw it. It's so good. We have a couple of different cuts of the video. So depending on how much time you have and what your equipment looks like for the event, we have a 60-second, 90-second, and 4-minute version of the voices video that gives a really good summary of what the study is and what it means for folks to participate.
Before we show the video, Eunice, I was just going to comment quickly on the talking points guide. And for those of you who know me, you know I love a good set of marketing approved talking points, because the way that they've put the wording together is ideal, right? And not always can I articulate what I'm trying to say. And this is no different. We've got great things that can be, even announcements that can be shared from your stage, great ways to integrate voices as a mission moment within your relay. And so, it's a great way to integrate that into your event, and an easy way, I should say, to integrate that into your event too. So now I guess we can show the video, Eunice. Hopefully the sound works.
Yes. Ooh, I'm also hoping that. Let me know if you can hear.
For too long, Black women have suffered disproportionately from rates of cancer and other diseases, and with very few exceptions are more likely to die of cancer than any other race or ethnic group.
This study is entirely what we call observational. You are sharing with us how you live, what you do, what you may be exposed to in your life, and we're collecting that information from you.
Voices of Black women is really to dig into that lived experience of Black women. We dig into aspects around trust of the medical care system. We dig into experiences of racism and discrimination and where that comes from. You're telling me, if I give you this information, it might give you insight into why we are getting cancer at higher rates, why we are dying at higher rates. I feel like it's an easy ask when you look at it from that perspective. Everything that we're going to learn is going to impact Black women's health for the better. This is more than a health survey. That's why we call it a movement.
So that is an example.
For too long,
That's an example of one of the videos that you can show from your event stage at Relay. Ooh, maybe I'm not tech savvy enough to get out of this really quickly. Hold on.
We know for
I'm gonna quit sharing for a quick second.
Good. While you're doing that, I'll talk because everyone knows I can do that. There are those multiple cuts that Eunice mentioned of the video are available on that Voices resource page. So, and they're all on YouTube. So even if you wanted to potentially drop that in your Relays Facebook group or something like that pre-event, maybe you don't have AV at your event, there's some great opportunities to still share that, the impactful video that's there too. So another great resource that we've had for a bit, but haven't always we haven't put in a nice little package for you all as relayers, and so we're excited to do that. And I'm hoping Eunice can share again.
I'm almost there.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So the next thing we're going to talk about, and as Eunice is getting this slide back up, is how what kind of the guardrails are around integrating voices in Relay for Life. And this is true across all of our programs that have integrated with voices. And so the first is going to be about sponsorship, and I'll turn that back to Eunice.
Yes, thank you so much. We got it. No sponsorship opportunities can be offered specific to voices of Black women. This is really important because I know that a lot of people and a lot of organizations, when they hear about voices, would like to give funds directly to the study. What we've done is that any donations that folks want to give have to go to our cohort studies in general. So if there are any sponsorship opportunities that you do catch wind of, please let us know. You can reach out to me and I can kind of connect folks with our our mission sales enablement team. Also, our staff partners work very closely with our mission sales enablement team. So if there are any sponsorship opportunities that you do catch wind of, definitely consult your staff partner. Next, I wanted to talk about the materials that we do have. As Brian mentioned, we have our materials that are up on ACS resources. We also have some additional materials that are up on My Society source. And it's really, really important that we do not edit our materials. While that might be something that, we are all tempted to do. Our materials for Voices have been reviewed by an institutional review board, otherwise known as an IRB. And the IRB ensures that anything that is related to our study, anything that we are pushing out to participants for recruitment purposes, or even the study itself, is safe, is not misleading, and is respectful to our participants. Because of that, they, keep a very close eye on what we use to recruit for the study. And if we violate what we have already gotten approved, if we make any edits without running it by the IRB first, then we do run the risk of potentially getting a protocol violation, which could put the study in jeopardy. So we definitely want to avoid that. We definitely want to be cognizant of, the things or the checks and balances we have put in place around Voices in our marketing materials.
And let me just add to that, Eunice, that I'll just commend the study team. There is a unlimited number of sizes and different types of resources and slightly different calls to action depending on where you're using it, and text that you can include in a newsletter. I mean, there is a huge suite of resources. We've kind of selected a subset of those and put them on the ACS resources page for Relay. But chances are, if you're looking for something or it's not quite the right size, we probably have it in the full library of resources. So don't hesitate to reach out to your staff partner. Staff, there are more resources on My Society source and in Brand Central. So that there are more tools out there, but really, really critical that we protect the integrity of the study and ACS's reputation too, and in the research community as well. So.
Yeah. And if, for some reason, you aren't able to find something that you really, really need, either on Brand Central, My Society source, ACS resources, we can work with your staff partner to kind of identify, what the needs are and see if there's any way to create something to kind of fit what those needs look like. So we can work together, but given the resources and the protocols we have in place, we need to do everything above board. Thank you, Brian. And that last point on this slide, reach out to your staff partner if you have a need that isn't met by what's available to you, still rings true if you're looking for something that's really, really specific that we might not have. Working through your staff partner to kind of facilitate that is really essential for kind of getting that need met. So next steps, I did want to turn it over to this group for a second, just to take the temperature, kind of see how we're all thinking. But how do you guys think that you're going to bring Voices back to your event? What ideas do you have?
I'm gonna start it off. I'm gonna challenge every event lead, team captain, staff partner. You know the demographics of your local area better than we do. So that being said, start talking about it in your planning meetings. Put your flyers out. Take them to the post office. Take them to the library. Anywhere that you're able to put a flyer out, by all means, put it out. If you go into your local garage to get your oil change, if they have periodicals laying on the table, hey, bring some in there. But we have to get the word out.
Yeah, thank you, William. I love that. I love kind of that idea of, wherever you can kind of think of, like even within your community to be sharing the study and amplifying in that way. I love kind of the idea of like utilizing all of those spaces.
And if you're in a community or if you have a relay that you have friends and family team or you have church teams, if you have the African American church team, that's going to be your best avenue. Get with that crowd, get with that group, give them flyers, let them take the flyers back to the churches, take them to the schools, wherever you're able to put a flyer at, please, let's get a flyer. That nice little button that Eunice has on her lapel, yeah, I have a feel with them myself. We can get you some of them. They're very big and they're very noticeable. People love wearables. People love pens. We can get you some of them button pens. Word of mouth is the best advertisement there is. Make it personal. Make it personal.
I think it's so important, and William, you're alluding to all of this, that we integrate this into our events. We don't like pick up a voices script and plop it into a ceremony where it might not fit otherwise. So it's important to think about like how can you treat this as your mission moment while still using it as an opportunity to talk about why the study is important, and use that recruitment ask where appropriate for the study audience within your community. So yeah, it's so important that we integrate and not just like plop it into what we have already.
Yeah, absolutely. I also wanted to highlight the fact that we definitely want to highlight voices in every single way that we can. So kind of get creative as you're thinking about some of the ways to integrate voices into your event. We have, the steps that we outlined in that integration guide, but for some of you, maybe your event, like you feel like could make a bigger splash in your community. In the integration guide, we do have a link to a form that you can fill out just to share some ideas with us that are kind of beyond the scope of what we've outlined in that integration guide. You can also use that form to, kind of like do a check with us to see like if there's anything that we can do to better support some of the efforts that you want to showcase at your event. So I would really encourage this group, like William said, the demographics of your community, the folks that, show up and show out at Relay. So we definitely want to do our best to support, all the efforts that occur at that ground level to support voices across these Relay events.
And please reach out to your NAACP. I know some people are very involved with that. As far as myself, I'm a graduate of a HBCU, which is a historical Black college and university. And I'm gonna see what I can do on that realm also, because I'm very active in my community with my college. So if you know fraternities, sororities, anywhere that you can get in, please let's try to get in.
Absolutely.
I do want to highlight, because I realized I didn't put this on any of the slides, but your staff partner is going to be, your best friend in kind of getting connected to Voices resources. But if you have any questions about the study, or any things that you want to reach out directly to the study team for, our email is thevoices@cancer.org. It's also on our website, but I will drop that in the chat as well. If anybody has any questions about, why we're doing the study, anything I didn't cover today, or any ideas or things that they wanted to run by the team.
Lastly, I have a degree in math, so the math is not mathing for me. We need 100,000. We have 3,300. Come on, help us. Let's get there. I know we can do it. Everything that ACS have tried, we've collaborated together and we've made it a success. And this will be a success also.
Absolutely. And I think it's so important to put that 3,300 in context, right? Because we were recruiting out of a very small subset of states. I mean, those are states that had some of the largest Black population in the country, but still a subset of the U.S. And one of the reasons we've put some more resources together around Relay and we're having this training is that we are now recruiting in all 50 states plus DC. And so I think, it's not like we've been recruiting a year in all 50 states and are only at 3,300. We have a lot of explosive growth to still do in getting voices enrollment, but we do need everyone's help to William's point to get there. We're not going to get there alone. We have to do it together. All right. Any other final questions for Eunice? You have her. This is a captive audience with a member of the study team. Any questions for her? All right. I think you've given them all of the answers to their questions, Eunice. But if you have more questions, don't hesitate to reach out to your staff partner. Use the voices@cancer.org email address. Eunice, I want to thank you for all of your work in getting these resources ready for our relayers. Also being on an evening call to be able to share this information directly with our staff and volunteers. I'm grateful for our partnership. And I'll turn it back to you for any closing remarks.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Thank you all for letting me share this space with you on a Tuesday evening. I love the Relay crowd. I love our volunteers. And I like to say I'm new at ACS. I've been here for like just under 2 years. And I've really, really loved our volunteers in the event space. So I'm excited for the work that we're going to be able to do together.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you everyone for your time tonight and have a great evening.
Thanks.
Bye all.